Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns and welcome once again to another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. This one will be all video with the exception of a very quick interview that was done over the telephone. And we're going to keep this extremely brief. The day that I'm filming this is Monday, April the 24th of 2023, and it is about a few hours after a court hearing involving Billy Broussard versus Scott Lopez and Benjamin Lopez. What was asserted by the defendants was a peremptory exception, no cause of action. And I will just let you know that Judge Pittman displayed the absolute epitome of courtesy, professionalism. I really don't have an adequate enough vocabulary to state the level of courtesy and professionalism that he extended to both sides. It's much more what I'm accustomed to seeing in courtrooms because there was a recent incident where that just wasn't the case, and I think everyone knows that of which I speak, of February the 15th. Judge Pittman did grant the peremptory exception that was asserted by the defendant, so presently the case is dismissed. He gave Mr. Broussard 30 days in which he may take one of three actions that the judge outlined. I'm not going to go into the three, but he did say that he felt like 15 days was inadequate. There again, that may have been a reference to another judge who did impose that same 15-day constraint. But I want to say just a few quick things, then we're going to go to a quick telephone interview with Mr. Broussard. The judge complimented, and I'm going to get a transcript because I want to have the actual wording, but the judge was extremely complimentary of Mr. Broussard. He said that his arguments were better than some attorneys who have argued in front of him. He was complimentary of his courtroom demeanor and preparedness. And also, I want to stress that the words attorney's fees never got uttered, either by Judge Pittman or not even by Attorney Hike. And so Judge Pittman wrapped it up in looking at Attorney Hike and said, look, I realize I'm paraphrasing a bit, we'll have the transcript. I realize your frustration, that the time and so forth, but I'm sorry, I have to operate within the constraints of the law. Now, that may not be verbatim, but that's very, very close to what he said, and we're going to get the transcript. That was incredibly refreshing to hear, because that's not what got uttered on February the 15th. I don't know any other way to phrase it. By Judge Bourne. I don't need to tip-tattle around this. I think those words were profound. Also, Judge Pittman informed Mr. Broussard that Louisiana, the reason he's having to grant the peremptory exception is that Louisiana is a fact-pleading state versus a notice-pleading state. Now, the vast majority, he indicated that your lawsuit would survive as is if this were a notice-pleading state or if it was filed in federal court, because federal court is also a notice-pleading state. I'm not an attorney. I did go and Google the comparison between the two, and this is an incredibly 36,000 feet observation, but it appears that notice-pleading state will permit some certain generalities, whereas a fact-pleading state has to be highly microscopically detailed. Now I'm not an attorney, I'm just going by what I looked at briefly in Googling the matter. However, I will say that we are in the minority, we being Louisiana, because they do have a listing of the current states that are fact-pleading states. And I'll read them off to you because they're all very large states except for two. So let me read them off. California, New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, Missouri, Virginia, Illinois, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Louisiana. Well, the only two small states on that list would be Missouri and Louisiana. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 states that fit this fact pleading status versus notice pleading. So you have 39 that would fall under the category of notice pleading. So I want to break away for just a few moments, let you hear from Billy Broussard himself in a telephone interview, and it's very short, just a minute or two. So let's break away at this time to hear him give his take about how today's court hearing went. We'll be right back. It's my pleasure to have joining us by way of telephone today, Mr. Billy Broussard. This is only several hours after the court hearing in Judge Pittman's courtroom. Mr. Broussard, what are your thoughts about the way the hearing went today?
Well, I must say, you walk out of the courtroom, and even though the ruling was not in your favor, it is something to look back and go, you know what? One way or the other, I still respect the judge. The judge, he's very respectful. Judge Pittman, I must say, he definitely fits the definition of a honorable judge. And, even though, like I said, the ruling wasn't in my favor, you walk out and you say, you know what? We need good judges like this. And he still and would definitely get my vote.
I got you, and I think you would echo those same sentiments about Judge Lanier. Am I correct?
Most definitely. I mean, just when you go before him, it's a very tense, time. But at the same time, you go before judges like this with wisdom and understanding. It makes it a lot easier. The situations like this are not uplifting or something you want to be in that situation anyway. But they definitely do make it a lot easier to deal with.
Well, and I guess for this entire matter, the entirety of the matters, given that you've had 3 judges, there's some lyrics from that song that always say, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I think it's I want you, I need you, but there ain't no way I'm ever going to love you, but don't feel bad. 2 out of 3. No, don't feel sad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So maybe those song lyrics would fit here because I believe that 2 of the 3 judges have displayed the epitome of class, professionalism, and certainly courtesy. So with that, Mr. Broussard, I want to thank you for joining us, for letting everyone know how today's court hearing went. All right, perhaps you enjoyed my humor about 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Everybody will remember those song lyrics. I want you, I need you, but there ain't no way I'm ever going to love you. But don't feel sad, because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And I think that was an appropriate 2 out of the 3 judges that Mr. Broussard has had to argue before with regard to these lawsuits. One of them was an ad hoc judge, Judge Lanier. I think exemplified courtesy and professionalism, and you can have extreme respect for rulings that are made by such judges. So we will come to you with a little more detail once Mr. Broussard has made his decision on the avenue he intends to take. He has shared with me what he in all likelihood is going to do, but I certainly don't want to broadcast that in advance of him actually doing it, because the decision is his, and also he may change his mind. People do that. The next big deal. Now, we do have the hearing on May the 23rd in Judge Bourne's courtroom. My own guess is that's going to be rather anticlimactic.